Welcome to our persistent agents and investors from across North America. Today is Thursday, July 11th, 2022, and this is All the Leads Mastermind podcast number 390. We got a full, yay, thank you, Doug, I appreciate it. Should we do happy 390 to us, sing the birthday song? Anyway, yeah, I can't believe it has been that many. It's been and they just keep getting better, guys. We appreciate y'all being here. Everybody except Chuck will be with us today. Chuck has a prior engagement, and with that, I will toss it over to Bruce. What do you got, Bruce?
All right. Well, I like your word this week, persistent. Persistence is key in this business. I was having a conversation with a coach a few days ago that's not with us, someone that runs a coaching organization. And we were talking about kind of the benefits of working your probate leads. Everybody here knows, and if you don't know, you should know that we also have some other types of leads that we currently have available and are rolling out. But most folks come to this to talk probate. So just so everyone knows, that's not the only thing you can talk about. But back to the coach's story, we were having this discussion about the benefits of probate. And I was talking about how probate ultimately becomes really easy. And I was challenged on that by the coach. What do you mean it's easy? I mean, it takes 6 months of marketing, and it takes phone calls, and you've got to have a website, and you've got to put content out and all those things. And I said, absolutely. It's 6 months of work. But once you've put the work in and you've built the relationships and you've filled the pipeline and you have the content, all of a sudden things become kind of easy. It goes on autopilot. And sometimes you might have to, sometimes it might be a year. Sometimes it might be 4 months for some of you in certain markets. But I want you to know that if you put the work in and you lay the foundation and you build the relationships and you fill the pipeline, there does come a point where this business becomes kind of easy, and eventually it just starts to fall in your lap. My business has been on autopilot for a while. I'm not aggressively, actively prospecting myself. I still get calls from attorneys. I still get calls from past clients that I've helped through probate that came through as leads. It happens very frequently that that business just lands in my lap because I took the time over a couple of year period to lay this foundation. And now, not hardly having time to work the business, it comes to me, and I don't want to turn away business that I worked hard to build that pipeline and hard to lay that foundation. So I'd like for everyone here to really understand that and have some motivation. If you feel like you've been putting the work in, take heart and know that it is coming if you are persistent and you keep on building that foundation. The business is going to come, and eventually it's going to be really easy. It's just going to be come list me business, and it's going to be business that just completely lands in your lap. So stay with it, stay with us, stay with the process. And we're here to help. So that's my opening. That's all I got. Anybody else? Any other coaches have anything?
No, but I think that's pretty well said. I mean, we've had, and I'll just chime in on what you said. We've had folks who started here. I see one of their smiling faces on here now who's been around for a good long time. And the whole thing is that they systematize their business. They made it into something that runs like clockwork. They do the same thing every month. They become a creature of habit, and they do it the same way, and they continue to sharpen their axe, and they come on our calls, and they get their mail out, they make their phone calls, they follow up, they get it done, and every month they get more stuff. And it doesn't matter how big their market is or small their market is. People just continue to do the same things. Those are the people that are successful. And it isn't hard once you learn how to do it.
It becomes really easy, truthfully, guys. It becomes really easy. I have people that ask me how much time I put into an average listing. My average time in a listing appointment included, is usually 2 to 3 hours max. And that's all the way through to closing. And it's because there are systems in place. You guys can do the same thing. You should be doing the same thing, but it takes some work and some persistence up front to lay the foundation. And as long as you know what the foundation needs to look like, go to work on it, and it will become automated at some point. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Tim.
I think the point that you're that you're making is a good one. But I think the thing that everybody on here needs to understand, especially if, you're just kind of getting started, is that that's where we come in. We're here to help you. Our goal is to help you get there. We're not just a company that wants to sell leads. If all we did to be in business was sell leads, we wouldn't have to do a lot of the things that we do. We provide way more than that. We provide a ton of free training. We give you education you don't get anywhere else. We provide you with the mailing services at a very, very affordable price. We provide you with credibility tools to build it, websites, anything that you need that you do, we can provide. And more importantly, we do things like what you're on right now. You're on this call, but more importantly, we're here for you. We've got coaches. Chuck's not here today, but Chuck does an excellent job. Bruce does an excellent job. And they're a phone call away. It's included for our subscribers. If you need help, if you need coaching, or you need cheering up, or you need a kick in the butt, we're here to do that. And that's what's important, is that we do all of that as part of being a subscriber here. So saying it's easy is always scary, but what we do is we help you build it into a system that's what makes it become easy.
Absolutely. Well said. So with that said, folks, this call is for you. We're here to take your questions, your challenges. We also want to hear about those wins and successes. If you converted a lead this week, if you closed a deal that you got out of probate or divorce or pre-probate lead, we want to hear those things. By the way, if you did close a deal out of our leads, or if you got a new listing or signed a new contract, chime in, because we do pick a winner of the week every week, and you get a discount on the next round of leads. If you have an idea, something that you are doing that might be slightly unique, that the rest of our audience might be able to take advantage of and implement, we want to hear those ideas. The idea of the week also gets a discount on the next round of leads. So please chime in. Not only with the questions and the comments, but also those wins and ideas of the week. And we'd love to hear from you. So this is yours. If you want to ask a question, go ahead and pop that hand up. We'll call on you. And of course, Alyssa is monitoring the chat channels as well.
And I want to acknowledge White Simpson. You're right, White. It is August. It's not July 11th. So thank you. See, it gets so easy. I was a month off on the opening date. And you're the only one that noticed, White. I think we should give him a prize for that.
I was about to say.
You're the only one who's listening, Jim.
Yes.
All right. So what do you guys have for us? And while I'm waiting on those hands to pop up, we did just have a really good listing success class yesterday, where I basically broke down the 4 keys to unlocking a listing appointment. So that class comes around again in about 2 to 3 months. If you haven't taken that class, I encourage you guys to go online to alltheleads.com and sign up. It's free, whether you're a subscriber or not a subscriber. And we offer a handful of free classes and a couple of affordable paid class options as well, just on alltheleads.com. We do have Sean, who has his hand up. Alyssa, are we still doing a screening?
We're good with Sean.
All right. Sean, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. What do you got for us?
Hi, good morning. Good afternoon. First time in the meeting. Thanks for having it.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, so I'm just a private money lender, and I actually had a probate. I wouldn't call it a deal. It was somebody at work that offered to help, or I offered them to help them to find the deed in the court, because I attend a lot of different real estate education, and their property, the dad left the property without the will, without any liquid money, just the property, and he has another property and out of state. I'm from Illinois, so this was in Kingston, Illinois, and we find out that we found a cash buyer because she had the authority to sell, and he couldn't make an offer because the house was in such disrepair, So I was just had the question of, you guys come across these, what happens? What could she do? What if it won't sell? There's he was quite a hoarder, and it's, really bad, the property. So
Mhm.
what would you do in this case? She's kind of like up in arms.
Is the property upside down? Is there a mortgage on it?
That's a negative.
No mortgage.
No
Okay.
mortgage.
Okay.
Yep.
Any idea what the ARV on the property might be?
No, I looked up the county assessor for the county and their value, and I'm not sure how they said they look online and assess it online. So it was just under 40 grand for land and domicile.
Mhm.
But it's obviously not that value anymore right now. I mean, if you look at it, go inside, there's just so much stuff in there: garage, attic, basement.
Do you know what the upside might be if it was fixed up? Any idea what it might sell for?
We haven't even got that close for anything like that. I would say, this is probably like she's thinking it's going to need to be tore down. That's how bad it is.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the roof is just shambled. You go inside, you can't even walk inside for one, but the floor is just, you can't see the floor.
Mhm.
Foundation, everything, just it's almost a total loss.
Well, it might only be worth the price of the lot. That's certainly a possibility, but you being a private money guy, you likely have a number of investors. I'm going to highly encourage you to go out, use some resources, and try to find additional investors in the market that you're in. Look for investors that are property owners that own multiple properties. And if you find people that own 4+ properties, odds are they're investors. I would begin to start to cold call through that list and find out who's actively investing, and start to get yourself a larger investor network. It sounds like you might need a little bit larger investor network. I assume, but I don't know this. Are you a part of a RIA?
I've been to a RIA before, but this is my second year, so
Okay.
I'm still in there building my list. I have, I just wanted to help the family and get it going, but I'm
Of
still
course.
building my list, and I'm afraid that when I find an investor, that they're just gonna pass, just like the cash buyer that we found. And even with the stuff, if you take all the stuff out, hire the crew, that's a loss on the family. She hasn't even got any liquid assets yet.
Mhm.
So it's all out of her pocket. It's kind of like it's really hard for her, and it's hard for me too. I mean, I didn't know it all. I just kind of helped her along, and I don't have all the answers. But like I said, if I did find a multiple not cash buyer, but investor that I can, fund the loan, but the lender probably will pass on that as well.
Mhm.
So that's what I was thinking when you said land. The land was just over $9,000.
Okay. And land is hard to value. A county assessors, they're just throwing numbers at the wall a lot of times on land. And sometimes at houses like this, they haven't been inside. And so I don't always trust those assessments. I'm going to talk about what to do to help this individual first, or in a second. But before I talk about what to do to help this individual, let's go work on that investor network of yours so that we don't run into this the next time it comes up. Because I promise you're going to find more deals like this. And I want to make sure that you have a strong investor network. So get plugged into the RIA and start forming relationships with those investors. Call around if you can get a hold of a list of investors that are already living and buying in the area, own property in the area. Call around and find out who is actively investing, and just tell them what you're doing, and ask if they'd be interested in seeing the deals, being one of the first people to see the deals that you may run across. Build a list that way. I did that with a couple of weeks of cold calling, and built a list of several hundred people in my area that wanted to invest, that were still actively investing. So I know when I find a deal, I can take it to them. not all investors are created equal. We've got investors in this group that are good, some that are new. There are investors out there that make offers that are really amazing on houses, and others that make terrible offers on houses, and some that pass on perfect opportunities. I had a deal about 6 months ago, and it was an incredible investment opportunity, and I had 2 investors pass on it. It was completely their loss. So I'm not going to allow myself to get disheartened just because one investor passes on something. He might have passed because he didn't have any money. He might have passed because it's just out of his niche, his or her niche. Okay. They may have passed for any number of reasons, and it could be that they're just missing the opportunity. So a larger network is going to help you with that. The next thing that I want to talk about is what you do with the individual that you're working with. So number one, if it's free and clear, and if you can gain some confidence in what the value is going to be, you could always ask her to owner finance to you or to one of your investors. So you could go that way. If you didn't have the money to buy it and fix it up yourself, you could always go with an owner finance route. You could also take it and partner with a real estate agent and go ahead and get it listed. Okay. And in this case, you're probably doing that more as a referral to the agent. You not being licensed can't really take money out of that, but at least it gives you a chance to form a relationship and now offer a different, an extra solution to the families that you work with. So there's a couple of different things that you're dealing with here. If it needs to be torn down, see if you can just get somebody to buy the lot, or maybe even you owner finance the lot, if that's a price that your client, that your PR is willing to take. But I think first and foremost, you probably need to reach out to a few agents, or try to build that investor network. And if you reach out to a few agents, you could get broker price opinions from them and kind of lock down the price that you're looking at. At this point, your price is the problem. It doesn't sound like you really know what that price needs to be. And that's what we need to lock down. So I would reach out to a few agents and just have a couple of them give you a ballpark on price so that you know what to do, and return the favor down the road somewhere. You may even want to pay them $100 to do a comparative market analysis or a broker price opinion for you as well. I know plenty of agents that'll do that. Just make sure you're not going to a new agent that's never done one before. So it needs to be someone who knows how to price a lot and knows how to price a property that needs to be renovated.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Bruce, I was just going to add to that. Another thing it doesn't sound like you don't really know if it's a tear down or not for sure. I might consider getting a contractor out there. Ideally would be maybe a contractor who's also an investor. You know what I mean? I think that'd be really important to know. If it is a tear down, the upside is a whole lot less. But if it's just a major rehab, you might be surprised how cheaply a contractor could do the rehab compared, to you hiring a contractor. Sometimes there are contractors out there that are also investors. And, it's not going to be an easy find, but I think I'd start, first of all, just get the contract out there and determine, is it a tear down or not? And ask that contractor if he's interested. And if not, maybe he could recommend somebody to you that would be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've thought about numerous, having, well, you showed it one time, and it was the executor. She was just kind of like, really, she was scared, and she kept doubting herself, saying, I'm trying to sell a piece of garbage, is what she kept saying. And I just was sat and observed, it's probably not, I want to say that a structural, it's probably got good bones. It's probably built in, I don't know, the 1900s, but that's what amazed me. I thought the assessor said it was 1960 built, but she said that her dad bought it in the 80s, but it was older, it was at least 20 years older than when he bought it in the 80s. But finding an investor, this is a small town. It's just a neighborhood off of a strip through a small town. How many people would be interested in that? Maybe to rent it out, maybe if you got good bones, renovate it. Is there a lot of people that they want to look at the ARV, a high rental area or a high buying and selling area. So
there are probably ways to make the numbers work. The first step is to try to get a more accurate value estimate, both as is and fixed up. And I think you're just going to need to reach out to a few local agents that know the market. Again, not newbies. And we have lots of newbies here. Everybody needs to get started somewhere and get some experience somewhere, but you need an accurate value on that property. So you want to reach out to agents that probably aren't so busy that they don't have time to give you a value, but are busy enough to where they know how to price a property, and offer them $100 if you're going to get paid on the deal somehow. Doesn't sound like your client has a lot of money. So you need to probably, if you're going to be involved in the deal and make a profit on it, at least put a little bit of skin in the game and get some sort of value up front. And then you can structure a deal on the back end once you know what the price is. It's kind of tricky. I don't know if you're part of our Facebook group. If you're not part of the Facebook group, just go to All the Leads Mastermind Facebook group, join it. I bet we have some subscribers and some agents and some investors that are in and around that area. Put this property and need out. You might not want to put the address. You don't want anyone circumventing the work that you've done, but put the need out in the area out, and find out if there's anyone that's already in our network that might want to help you out on this one. I bet that there is someone that would be willing to help.
Hey, Bruce, Steve Love is on the call, and Steve is involved with a large group in Southern California. And Steve, if you wouldn't mind, going to ask you to unmute. Do you know anybody in the Chicago metro market that might potentially be of assistance here? I don't know if I can get you there or not. And I don't know if you're still on. Anyway, Steve, if you're listening, if you could raise your hand and help out here. But you made the point about checking with AREA, and it sounds like that would be a great place for Sean to start digging in.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. All right, Sean, hopefully we'll have some answers and help for you trickling in here. In the meantime, while we're waiting on that, we do have a couple of other questions. So Charlotte asked about finding representatives that are on the do not call list, and should I keep mailing them? Yes, if you are going to make the choice not to call an individual based on a risk factor, then you should continue doing what does not have a risk. And that means that you should mail them. Ultimately, it takes an average of about 12 touches to convert a lead. And I know that's a lot of touches. And when you're making calls, you're texting, you are mailing, you're doing all those things, you can spread those 12 touches out across a lot of different channels. If you're going to scrub them out of your calling list, and I do not blame you for doing that, if you're going to do that, you need to kind of do a little bit extra in the way of mailing. You might even want to mix in maybe a handwritten note with your auto campaign letters that are going out. Just add an extra few mail touches in there to that person, those people. Let's see what else. And if you need any clarification on that, or if anyone else has any questions there, raise your hand. Evie asked, is it possible to prospect divorce leads with attorneys and probate? Evie, are you by any chance available to chime in and kind of clarify that question for us? And then we'll grab Ken right after that. Evie,
yes, I'm here.
There you are. Okay. So ask that question, expand on it just a little bit, because I'm not sure exactly what you're asking.
Okay. I'm currently doing, I'm marketing to family law attorneys for divorce leads. And it's a lot to keep up, the pop-bys, everything else, to get the letters out to them, my CV out to them. So I'm just wondering, because it's still long-term. So is it possible to do that and still my probate leads?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
This is going to heavily go toward your specific system and automation. So go back to the beginning of this call where we were talking about putting your systems in, laying that foundation. But there comes a point where the business just starts to come to you. So this is just an extra foundation that you're going to need to lay. But absolutely, if you're already working the probate attorney circuit, you might as well add in the family law attorneys and work them as well. And you might want to say, I'm going to pop by once a month with my candy bowl, or once a month with this gift or that gift, and just leave it for the gatekeeper, leave it for the office. And that's going to be your way to continue to stay front of mind. And it might take several months to establish those relationships. But if you already have an attorney circuit that you're working, you might as well add the family law in there as well.
Okay, perfect. So my next question would be, I have to get more organized, like you said on the beginning. So is there any way I could do a coaching call or something to get that?
We can give you a coaching call. Go in and grab one on the All the Leads portal.
Okay.
And just when you log in, you're going to click training, and then you're going to go to professional real estate coaching. And that'll just give you Calendly links for us. And in the notes, just say exactly what you're looking to do, that you're trying to get more organized with your divorce attorney prospecting and circuit, because that's I want you to be prospecting them, but also working them in a circuit where once a month you're swinging through that office.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, great. Thank you, Evie.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ken, if we could hold on with you one quick. Actually, Belinda has her hand raised. So let's go to Ken first, and then I'm going to come to you, Belinda.
All right. Yep. You got me.
Got you loud and clear.
Cool. So I guess, one, I had an objection. So I called somebody, she said, I think this is very rude or inconsiderate, whatever exactly she said. She said her mom passed away in the house. So understandably, she was upset. Before I had a chance to say, hey, I'm so sorry, but I know there's probably a need there and I can help you with that. She hung up. So I was just debating on what I should do. I mean, obviously it does sound like there is real estate. It does sound like there's a need there. You think maybe I just call her in a couple weeks, or send her a text, or how do you think I should follow up with that?
I would leave her on your mailing campaign. I would also,
and I haven't set up a mailing campaign yet.
Okay, got it. So assuming you had a mailing campaign, you'd leave her on that, or put her into a new campaign. But I would also write her a little personal note. Just say, hey, I was the guy that called you. I understand it's a really difficult time, and I just wanted to apologize for calling you out of the blue like that. Now, does that mean that you're never going to call anyone out of the blue again? No, absolutely not. But some people react differently, and we want to validate their reaction. So one of the responses that you just gave, so you said before you could say, and then you kind of gave a little bit of a response. And I don't know if you used this language, but you did say, I understand it's really tough, but okay. So I want you to try to keep that word or anything that sounds like that word, but completely out of your response when you get somebody that pushes back on you like this.
Okay.
We want the individual to feel completely validated in the way that their response. If they say you're a dirty ambulance chaser, I am going to validate them. Oh gosh, I didn't even imagine how that this might sound. I am so sorry. That's the last thing in the world I want to sound like. Please forgive me. And a lot of times people will back off. Now, if they hang up, there's really nothing that you can do about it. So I mean, you weren't going to do anything to change the outcome of that particular call, but I would go ahead and send her a note, and then I'd try back in 3 or 4 weeks and just take a different approach. Hey, I know this is out of the blue. I sent you that note. I just wanted to find out if you got that, and express again my apologies for catching you like that. And see if that opens the door to lead into what you're doing. A lot of people, when you've apologized like that, you've fallen on a sword, they'll go, no, I was having a bad day. Or no, I'm sorry, you just caught me at a bad time. What was it you were calling about? I've heard that a lot when I fall on my sword, and I fall on my sword hard. I don't even try to explain myself until they feel guilty for coming at me. That's what I'm ultimately looking for, is to try to see if they're going to feel guilty and try to explain their emotional reaction. And so when I call back, or when you call back, that's what I want you to give her the chance to do, is maybe try to explain the reaction that she gave you. and maybe then she'll open the door by going, what was it about? What was it that you do? And then you can go in and explain.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think about the letter, but yeah, that's obviously a good idea. And then the other thing is, like I said on one of the previous calls, I do want to expand with you guys. Like I said, I love the program. I'm 100% sold at this point. I feel like that incident aside, generally I'm pretty good on the phone, and that's my preferred mode of contacting these people. And I know you've probably explained this many times, but about the list where we can narrow down just the people that have real estate. Like if I get a list of 400 people, how much will that narrow down the list? Because I think maybe that's the way I want to go, just so I'm not wasting any time calling people that don't have real estate.
Yep. It's called Property Plus. It is available for $2 extra per lead. We don't have the data. That's the reason that we charge extra. So we're not holding it back. We would then go skip trace it 18 ways to Sunday. We look through county records. We look through transaction records, skip tracing services, and find out which decedents have recently had real estate. Now, anytime you're skip tracing, it's never 100% perfect. I find it to be about 90% accurate. So if that decedent owned real estate in the very recent past or current, it's going to come back with a property record, and it's going to show you the MLS history on that property. It's going to show you the tax data on that property, a bunch of different things. And you can decide based on price, area, current ownership, different things like that, whether you're going to leave that person in your campaign or not. If you're doing mail, and if you're doing more than about 4 or 5 touches per campaign, it's a no-brainer, because you'll scrub out somewhere around 30% of your overall leads. You'll probably scrub them out of your campaign. So by the time you hit that fourth mailing, you will have gotten the cost of the Property Plus back.
Right. And just the time that I'm not calling people again to hear there's no real estate, or texting them, because I'm obviously getting that quite a bit, where they're like, why are you calling me? Like, I have no idea what you're talking about. There's no real estate, etc.
Right. Yep. Yeah. It helps. So it's active list management. It just helps you actively manage that list and make sure you're spending time and money on the people that have the highest likelihood. And you can even see if the surviving spouse likely still owns and lives in that house. Now, I would never tell anyone not to work the surviving spouse, but maybe you choose to work a surviving spouse slightly differently on a slightly different campaign than you would another type of family member.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
And then lastly, I told you I was going to do call sessions. I had somebody join me. I believe she had never made her calls, and now we've got her into action, and she's making her calls and seems excited. So, like if anyone wants to join me or us, please reach out. Please, let's make some calls. Let's have some fun. I mean,
I see Sue raising her hand and doing thumbs up. I know you guys had a good call session.
Yeah,
I got an email about that.
Yeah, I'm excited. So thank you, Sue, for raising your hand and for joining me. Like it motivates me. So it's really helpful.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Ken.
Yeah, thank you guys again.
Yep. All right. Tim, did you have anything to add before I go to Belinda, or should I call on Belinda?
You asking me?
Yeah, you unmuted yourself. I didn't know if you were trying to add anything.
Oh, no. I'm good for now. I'm good.
Okay. Belinda, what's happening? Let's go to Belinda. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So just a couple of things. First one, just a statement. I want to really thank you for that dialogue mastery. But I came back and I tweaked my I don't want to say script, but the way I enter into a conversation with a person when I call, it just feels more comfortable. It feels easier to do after I tweaked it, after listening to the dialogue mastery. And so that's one thing. And then the other thing is, when you said your business is pretty much on, it's automated at this point, You don't really have to pay a lot of attention to it. It's just kind of just running on under his own steam right now.
Mhm.
Did you mean that, for example, you have drip campaigns in place, you have letters that go out automatically, or do you mean you delegated that stuff out and now it's running automatic?
Kind of all the above. And I'll be the first to admit that I'm not doing a lot of transactions anymore.
Okay.
So I'm not running the CRM that I used to run with those drips. And
And
personally,
the phone calls and all that stuff.
Yep. So the phone calls automatically happen for me. The letters,
Is that through having
an ISA.
virtual assistant?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Does that works well for you? I mean, I've tried it one time because I had a bunch of old leads and I just was very hesitant to get back on the phone. So I passed those off to ATL's ISA. And I don't know, it seems kind of, to me, kind of awkward when you're dealing with probate specifically, because it's just better when you form the relationship with them yourself versus have the ISA call and then kind of turn them over to you and you don't know the tenor of the conversation and stuff like that. But
Yep.
it got me through the numbers though, you know. So
the answer,
this is a bunch of wrong numbers, but yeah.
right. The answer to that is it depends. It depends on the market. It depends on the ISA. It depends on you. We've had folks using ISAs that have gotten an extremely large number of leads that they never followed up on. We've had people that have gotten really good leads that kind of ghosted them. We've had people that got really good leads that were ready to go right away. So there's a lot of different variables there. But if the ISA is good, then you want them to be close to as good as you are on the phone.
Okay, because I mean, I did it because I hadn't been on the phone for a while and I was hesitant. So that wouldn't have been a very difficult thing to accomplish at that point.
Okay.
Because that wasn't that good because I just got back. But that's one reason I listened to the dialogue mastery, because I was like, okay, I need to tweak my script. I need to get it to where it feels comfortable to me when I'm just having a conversation. And I've gotten it to that point where I feel like I'm having a conversation with people rather than selling them something.
Absolutely. And that's exactly where you need to be. And this is the last thing that I'll say about the ISA. And then I'm going to come back to what you just said. The most successful people with ISAs often have a few times a week where they block off prospecting time where they are prospecting with the ISA. So you don't always want to just say, hey, do all my calls for me. You want to get your hands dirty a little bit and make some of those calls.
Yeah.
And then that way you can hear what they're doing that works. They can hear what you're doing that works. You can do live handoffs if they catch someone that you haven't been able to catch. There's a lot of different benefits to doing that with someone. Now, I use ISAs mainly for a lack of time. And that's what a lot of other folks do as well. Now, for you, Belinda, I heard you in Prospecting Mastery. You're good. You're getting yourself dialed in. I'd love to see you making your own calls until you need to take on some leverage. I feel like you're right there on the verge of having a lot of success in prospecting.
Okay. But I get so few leads. I'm only getting like 75 a month. I get it from another company, US Probate. And I mean, that's very few. I mean, I should be to run through those in 2 days, and then you weed down the ones that don't have property. They say they're not going to sell. And I've extended out my services to say, okay, for those people that say they don't want to sell a property, this, that, and the other, I'm like, well, you may want to think about estate plan, so you don't have to go through probate again. So that at least gives me something else to say.
Yeah, you should be talking to them about that.
Yeah, to offer them, so it doesn't seem like I'm just calling trying to beat in on the property. Although in the back of my mind, I mean, really, that's why I'm calling, to be honest. I want to sell property. And I'm looking for some for myself as rental units as well.
Yep.
So yeah, but okay. And then the last thing is, I do have one case that I came across, and one other thing too. This case it's 3 sisters and a son, a brother. He is the personal representative. One of the sisters is living in the house now and has been for a number of years. She is, according to the will, she has the ability to buy the property, or she's able to, the approval to buy the property up to a year. If she doesn't do it in a year, then one of the other sisters can buy it. If nobody wants to buy, then they can just sell it. Okay. So what I had talked to the PR about was okay, we'll have a meeting and I can go over, he needs to find out first of all, if she can buy the property, if she can, and if she wants to. And if she doesn't, and she needs to work on her credit or things like that, I can put her in contact with a mortgage broker who can give her an idea of what she needs to do, maybe first-time home buyer programs, things like that. Even though I think she's kind of up in age a bit, but still, she's first-time home buyer, she still can use those programs. So she has time to get in a position to actually buy the property. And for the brother, I said what I can do also is there are companies like Curbio, Revive, those are the more formal companies that will do the fix up and then you pay them on the backside. That way you can fully leverage that property. And so I was going over, setting up an appointment to go over to talk to the sisters and the brother to talk about, the options where the sister either can, buy the property, what the potential value of the property is, if they want to fix it up, what that potential value would be, because she's going to have to buy them out. She can't just, get the property and then go on about it, but she has to, give them something. So that was going to be one of my approaches, was to do that. And I'm just putting it out there in case there's something that I'm not looking at that I don't see, that perhaps, through your experience and a little bit of information I'm able to give you, you maybe give me some other ideas or things that I can do or I can present to them as options. I know they don't want to rent it because this person's living in it. And it looks pretty good. I rolled past it. So
the other option is going to be to go through our the cash advance program that we have connected.
Okay.
Connected through the site.
Yeah.
And I don't know what kind of pricing the Revive type companies are offering, but the cash advance may be able to get her an advance to fix it up, get that value and the property boosted, and then be able to refinance. But this is all going to be tied to her financial standing and ability to finance in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
So until you know that, find that out and then come back and ask us and we'll give you some more ideas. I don't have any other ideas until we know a little bit more, just like Sean was on earlier, until we know what the value of that property is, or until you know what the value of this property is and her financial ability. It's hard to give you a lot of direction, but I do want you to come back and let us know what you found out.
Yeah, but that's good though. I had forgotten all about the cash advance program, and I'm a realtor, so I can run the values and stuff like that. What it is now, if they just do like maybe a kitchen and bath and leave the rest for somebody else, we can run that value, then run it, they just fully blast it out. So yeah, that part I can do, but yeah, just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. And lo and behold, I knew about cash advance. I got it on the list, but I didn't think about that for this particular project. So yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for, something like that.
Awesome.
Okie doke.
Awesome. Thanks, Belinda.
Oh, one other thing. I'm sorry. In terms of your automated system, are you using just letters, using combination of letters, postcards? Do you text? All that stuff is a part of your so-called automated system?
For a long time, we only said just do letters. We'd say, postcards generally don't work so much. I disagree with that now. I think the market has shifted to where your postcard is more of that brand touch and that reminder. So you don't want to pack, if you're mixing postcards in addition to your letter sequence,
right.
You don't want to try to pack your entire offering onto a postcard. You want to keep it really short and simple. Hey, here are the 3 things that I do to help. Here's my.
I use the ATL postcards. I actually got a stack of them. And it's for my older ones. So it's just like a light touch because I've been mailing for a while. And I'm like, well, okay, I've been mailing letters. Let's just put some postcards out. Plus it's a little cheaper too. So
let's say you're going to send 4 letters. You might want to send 2 or 3 postcards with that. So I like to just insert a postcard sporadically into the middle of that letter campaign. So it might be 3 letters and 3 postcards, or 5 letters and 2 postcards, something like that. Just sort of break the monotony of a letter up and keep your face in front of their eyes.
Okay. And then you all are mailing out like every 3 weeks, every month. I was doing every 30 days. And I think I heard like every 3 weeks somewhere on one of these presentation. What's your mail out scheme? Is it every month, every 30 days, or
depends on how long your campaign is and what your budget is? But a lot of folks that are going to run for 6 months, they may do every 2 weeks for the first month and a half. And then they'll scale it back to where they're doing every 30, 35 days after that. The reality is every market is completely different. So when
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
actively getting leads, I'll get leads in 4 different markets that have various different demographics and average income levels and different things like
Yeah.
that. And so I change it based on what that county looks like, what that
Okay.
profile looks like. And there are counties where I might do a letter every 45 days. There are some
Okay.
areas that are highly competitive that I might do an initial letter and then skip 2 months and then start hitting them every 20 days after that. So
Okay.
you have to kind of judge it on your market and be willing to adjust. If one thing
Okay.
isn't working after 5 or 6 months, make an adjustment.
Okay.
Because there will be a secret formula for that market. You just have to adjust and find it.
Okay, because I'm in Maryland, and typically when I call people, they have a stack of letters. So it's very competitive.
They may
in
have a
Maryland.
stack of letters for the first 2 months, but I bet
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I bet
I
that
know.
they continue to get those letters after 2 months.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. And then how do you keep contact with these probates? Because you mentioned that you have people that are still sending you leads and stuff years after. Are you keeping contact? Like, you know how agents, we always doing these touches and we're,
Yeah, they're your sphere of influence. Put them in your CRM and turn them into your friends. So turn them into your sphere of influence. My attorneys send me business. My people that I've done probate business with that are now my friend. I comment on their Facebook posts. I invite them every 6 months. I invite them to have a drink with me. I send them education. They turn into a friend. And at that point, I may not attribute it to an all the leads probate lead, but the truth is I know that that's where the genesis of that relationship came from.
Okay. And you do your out of state ones there too? You do your out of state contact?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Great. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Belinda.
It's real important to know that, and you're touching on something important. Every time that we have encouraged people who've been with us a long time, we'll be in conversation with them. We'll say, what are you doing with your 6 months, 12-month leads? Well, I haven't been doing anything with those. We encourage them to go back and mount a campaign to those people. Every single time they do that, they come back with, man, that was a great idea. I got 2 out of that deal, and I'm going to go do it again and set it up as part of my system. And we encourage you to understand that, think about the people that you're dealing with. Sometimes they don't move very quickly to get anything done. And Bruce made an excellent point. After a couple of months, you're probably the only one contacting them. After 6 and 12 months, it's darn sure you're going to be likely the very only person doing it. And you can approach it significantly differently. You can say, hey, I realize it's been, 6 months since we last spoke, and I suspect that situations may have changed, yada, 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 and you've got things to talk about. So your lead season incredibly well. So don't let that list, just sit there. Attack it later as well. You got a couple of hands up and some others online, Bruce.
Yep. Awesome. All right, let's go to Richard. Richard, been a while, man. Go ahead and unmute yourself. What's up, Rich?
Hey, how you guys doing? Just a quick question. I got someone that said to me, I put a sign up, no trespassing sign. So I followed up with him. He still hasn't gotten his letters of testamentary. It's been some time. They have some sort of contesting of will. There's a lot of stuff going on there, very complicated. But he said to me, so I called him. He said, "Who is this?" I told him, "No, well, I'm so and so. I'm the one who put the sign up for you." He said, "Oh, okay." He said, "I'm taking that off." I said, "Really? Okay. Why is that?" No, because it gives the impression that nobody lives there, and it's more prone to be like targeted as as a criminal thing or whatever. I'm like, really? Is this what the attorney said to you? He said, no, the attorney said, do what you want. I'm like, okay. So I what's your thought on that?
I love that he said it. I not because he's right and not because he's wrong, but because it opened up a conversation and it gives you a chance to say, on one hand, I see your point, and I think I actually agree with pieces of that. On one hand, putting a no trespassing sign in the front window or on the front door may signal that it's that the property is vacant. On the other hand, putting it on there definitely allows you to kick a trespasser out of your house instead of having to file a formal eviction. Which risk are you more comfortable taking? All right. And I don't know what the answer is, only because he's definitely, his argument has some merit, and he needs to know that his argument has merit. But he also needs to know what happens if somebody were to move into his property, his vacant property, and now he has to go through the eviction process instead of trespassing them. And so the fact that he told you that simply opens up the dialogue. And that's all I want when I'm trying to form a relationship with someone. All I want is dialogue. I'm not trying to prove my point, prove that I'm wrong, right, and they're wrong. I just want the conversation. So he gave you a golden nugget and opened it up for dialogue. You may want to call him back and just tell him, hey, I was thinking about that and I see your point. I just wanted to give you some pros and cons both ways. You have a quick minute, and then kind of walk through the pluses and the minuses of leaving it on versus taking it down. Let him decide. At least you've lengthened that relationship.
Excellent. Okay. One more thing. When do you actually give up on someone? I mean, like this one person I call about 30 times, 35 times. When do you call it quits?
Personally, I call it quits at about 6 months, depending on the market, depending on how many leads I have. That's usually when I call it quits. Okay. And I'm using air quotes for those that are listening to this now or later and not watching. I call it, I never call it quits. I might take them out of my monthly calling schedule, and maybe I schedule a follow-up call in my CRM for 4 months from now. And maybe I have them on a letter sequence where they're going to get a letter or an email every 3 months or 6 months. I'm definitely not going to ever completely give up on someone. I just may give up on the intense focused portion of that campaign.
Got it.
So if they've proven to you that they're not going to respond to your 35th phone call, go ahead and take them out and schedule a call or a letter or an email or something to go out in 3-4 months. Maybe they're going to be more ready to have a conversation at that point. Maybe they're not. We don't know.
Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate that.
For sure. All right. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate you. Sue, let's go to you next. We're getting a little short on time, so we'll go to Sue. And then after Sue, I want to go to Douglas, and then we'll wrap up the call for the day. Sue, if you'd unmute yourself, please.
Okay. With older leads, would that make any sense to use Property Plus, or I forget what you called it?
Yeah, for sure. Property Plus. Yes. Realize that Property Plus is kind of serving two benefits, as we talked with Ken about a little bit ago. First benefit is to save you money on your mailing campaigns. So if you're doing 4 or 5 mailings, it will save you money on those. The next benefit is it helps you kind of weed out the folks that you're really never going to have a chance to do business with, or that it's unlikely that you're going to have a chance to do real estate business with. So Property Plus, if you're not going to be doing mail, yes, if it's a list that's, let's say it's 6 months old, realize that instead of whittling it down to 70 or 80% of its original size, you may whittle it down to now 40% of its original size. And I'm just kind of throwing a number out and a guesstimate, maybe 40% of its original size. So you'll uncover that 30 or 40% that already sold. And then you'll have that 40-ish% that's left that still has it. If you're doing Property Plus at the end of a year, it might be down to 20 or 25%. But at least you know where they stand, like which ones they are. All right, you good? You're back on mute. So, all right, perfect. Douglas, let's go to you next. I think I have to ask you to unmute yourself. There you go.
Hey, Bruce, we have a YouTube live that Lissa's been trying to get through too. And we do have a testimonial that Chuck wanted us to get to Libby. We may have to push one of those to next week, I guess, because we're kind of running out of time.
Okay, we'll go to Douglas real quick. If you could just go quick, Douglas, and then I'll hit the chats real fast. We'll make it real fast, and I'll let you know if we're pushing you to next week or if we'll answer you in a separate coaching session. I'll let you guys know here in just a minute. You're off mute, but I can't hear you. Your headset may be. Nope. Still nothing. Go to while you're figuring that out, I'm going to go to one of the written questions. Go down to your mute bar down in the bottom left of your screen, Douglas. Click that little arrow and make sure that you have the correct device selected. All right. So, wow. Jim, why don't you read the whatever questions or comments we need to get to? It's going to take me a while to sort through this, and I think you're looking at it already.
Now, Alyssa has been saying she has a YouTube live that wanted to come on live and ask a question.
Yes, we have.
Can you put that
We
through,
have
Alyssa?
feedback.
Sorry about that. We've got Barbara. She's got her hand raised. She is the Zoom user. She wants to go ahead and ask her question.
Amazing. Let's go to Barbara, and then Douglas, we'll try you again here in a second. Barbara, if you'd unmute yourself.
Yes. Hey, thanks for taking my call. I'm pretty new to probate and estate. So I got this deal. The grandpa died, so it went to grandma and 2 grandkids. I got grandma's share. I don't know how to get the minors because everybody told me I have to deal with a guardian ad litem. Is that true, or can I just ask the parents of the children to sign over because they all both agreed to sign over?
How old are the grandchildren?
7 and 14.
You're going to have to go through guardianship. Parents can't. Parents will not be able to do that. By the way, guardianship attorneys are some of the most valuable attorneys that you can work with, and you need relationships with them. Some of my probates come from guardianship attorneys that don't normally do probate. Unfortunately, Barbara, and I say unfortunately, it's actually a good thing that you're going to need to go build a relationship with this guardianship attorney and do it that way. It won't be able to go through the parents.
Okay, so if I go through the attorney, does that mean that they have to bring in the realtor and appraise the value and then put it for private sale or public sale?
It depends on the state, the laws in your state. Normally, no.
Okay.
No, you shouldn't. North Carolina. Okay, I'm in North Carolina. North Carolina, it depends. And I hate to give you an answer like it depends, but it really depends. I've done guardianship closings that did have to go through court approval with an upset bid process. And I've also done them without the court approval process. Now, they don't have to bring in a realtor or anything like that. If they don't already have a guardianship attorney, let me know. I would say let me know separately. I don't know what city you're in. Are you comfortable? Do you want to share that?
It's in Adams County.
Alamance. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have an attorney that could probably help you out. Go to our support team, call the phone number at the top of all the leads page and ask for me to give you a call, and I'll call you with an attorney that you want to talk to.
And what's your name? I'm sorry, I came late.
Oh yeah, it's Bruce Hill. So just go to alltheleads.com. There's a support phone number at the top of the page. Tell them that I told you to call in, and they'll take your number, and I'll give you a call and give you my attorney.
Okay, great, thanks. And
Okay.
I do like to connect with you. Probably you can help me a lot. I focus on foreclosure, so I do have probably 1/3 of deals that goes through probate and estate.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds
Thank you.
good. Look forward to it.
Thanks.
Thank you. Real fast, Douglas, did your sound get fixed? We are over time, guys. We want to respect your time, so we'll make this relatively quick. If Douglas's sound is nope,
Nope.
not fixed. Sorry. All right.
All righty. Bruce, before we sign off, I wanted to acknowledge Chuck told us Libby Weissman was going to be here today. She's got some really good success stories. Libby, we want to do you justice. If you wouldn't mind, we didn't notice you till the end of the call. If you wouldn't mind coming back next week and let Chuck interview you, we'll start the call off with Libby next week.
Is that possible, Libby? Are you going to be free?
She's not unmuted.
Libby's muted. All right.
Oh, now she is.
Check my calendar and I will tell you.
All right. Thank you, Libby.
18.
All right. Libby's back on mute. Okay. All
I
right.
think
We
she
do
said
want to
she was
hear.
checking her calendar, but hopefully we'll start off the call with her next week. We
Yeah.
appreciate you being here.
All right. Perfect. Jim, you want to
All
take us home?
right. Active group today. We appreciate everybody being here. We particularly want to thank those that actively participated and the ones that we didn't get the chance to get to. Thank you for your patience. We'll talk to you next week. And I want to challenge each of you, take one thing that inspired you on this call, go out and put it into practice, and please come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Have a great week, everybody. Talk to you same time next Thursday. Take care.